This is Joe Coleman, the new television champion, the super soldier, the genetic jackpot, the Jack Knight, the Tan Lantern, and the master of the universe.
This is the beast of nature, the freak, Rob Terry.
Hi, I'm OVW official Josh Ashcraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill.
This is Ricky Chevy, and I'm the blue-collar millionaire.
I'm Mr. Peck. God, that's great every time. Spectacular.
We're the Broner Brothers.
I am the One Girl Revolution, Taylor Hendricks.
This is Brandon Espinoza.
I'm the Assassin.
I'm Bruno Raul Limata.
I'm James Moose Thomas.
I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW.
I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Silva. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate. Raphael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez.
My name's Muhammad Ali. Baez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Jack Black.
This is Ohio Valley Wrestling, referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason West.
And you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
To another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk, the internet sensation and soon-to-be radio sensation that is sweeping the land. I am
Spoiler!
You're spoiler! You're supposed to say spoiler!
What about you making something like that?
Gravitating.
God!
Way to spoil this in the first second.
That's right! Might as well get it all out.
He just wanted to be the first one to say it. As PostMaster said, we are going to television. In the local area, public access is picking us up.
Wayne's World.
A lot of people, such as Wayne's World, Oprah, Howard Stern, Scotty Davenport, they all started on public access.
Yes.
Great things come from public access. It is a breeding ground. So if you're in the Louisville area, or the 676,000 people that get, no, that's what Kendra said. 676,000 people in the Louisville area that get Time Warner Communications. We will be coming to your house each and every Wednesday right now is what we're thinking. But yeah, it's very exciting times.
We'll have to give the credit to Kendra.
Yeah, we'll have to give the credit to Kendra.
The reason why is because we tried in 2011 to get on public access. We get nothing. Kendra shows up.
And we're all
5 shows in, right? 5 shows in with Kendra being on the show, and we're on TV.
See, the female demographic. We got the female
it pays off to have a
good idea
on the show.
Yes. We shall join the ranks of Oprah.
She's speechless.
She's retired now, so it's our duty to fill in the spot.
That's right.
That's right.
But so anyways, I'm joined as usual, as always, with these two.
These two? Whoa!
I was gonna say as always with you two.
Oh, okay.
And then the new addition. See, that's what we talk about. And when
she's a staple now. She's not new.
In pre-production, we always talk about not jumping on each other's sentences.
But she's not new.
Okay, right. Anyway, Jimmy, Postmaster Jones Biggers, Big B, Brandon Demiro, and Just Kendra. So, without any further clowning around and ado, Mr. Postmaster,
yes,
take us away.
Did you wake over there and you had a long night Monday?
Had a very long night Monday, but I'm still recovered. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Anyway,
from Against All Odds 20.
What's you want to know?
Yeah, a lot of things, but we'll see if we can do our due diligence. Do you see the Intercontinental title and U.S. title being defended at WrestleMania?
yes.
I mean, I would say yeah. There's no way to, even to delve into it.
But not necessarily, but yes.
Well, because it looks like
they canceled that tournament cup.
Well, I think they're bringing it back. I think. I don't know.
But yeah,
I would hope so. To defend 2 of the biggest titles in the company, I would hope you defend them.
So.
Also from Against All Odds 20.
Again.
Based on Raw and the match at Elimination Chamber, do you see the Shield? You must respect the Shield, by the way.
No.
Being disbanded before Mania, or do you see them having a WrestleMania match?
I don't see them being disbanded. I think they kind of dropped the ball with Nexus. I think they should have been around a lot longer than they were. They were a hot group. I thought they really worked well together. The things they did, promos and in the ring wise, were wrestling gold. I think they did a good job. So I think they should still keep them around. I don't see them being disbanded because they haven't been around a year yet. I don't think, have they? They came in at SummerSlam.
They're not even close to
they came in at Survivor Series.
So even later.
Yeah, they're not.
I was there for their debut.
So I don't see them being disbanded.
Yeah, I don't see them being disbanded. Like you said, they dropped the ball with Nexus, and they know it. So I think they got a good thing going on.
They better not be disbanded. I just ordered their shirt. I was very angry.
I have the Nexus shirt and it's not going anywhere because there isn't to wear it anymore.
Exactly. So from the Buck in 5.
Yep.
Postmaster.
Oh, okay.
Yes. How can I help you? Who do you and the NASCAR expert? You think there's a NASCAR expert?
Well, you told him last week.
I know. I told him there's a possibility.
Yeah, well, I guess he believes you.
He must believe me. And he's correct. So hang tight with that question. We're not ignoring it. We're just saving it for a little later in the show.
Wrong. We're not ignoring it. We're just ignoring it for now.
There we go.
Whatever.
And his next question, which you will address, we're also doing that.
Sorry, Buck in 5.
How do you feel about the Olympics eliminating wrestling from the games in 2020? Again, we're not ignoring it. We're ignoring it for now.
There you go. All right, good job.
For the Prototype 400,
Proto.
which sport could you see becoming more popular within the next 10 years?
Sports are all.
This is epic. Rugby.
No.
Bowling.
Yes.
Yes. Curling. Croquet. Or cricket.
Is croquet even a professional sport?
I actually could see 2 of these being big in the next 10 years. I'm not even kidding you.
Is it
and
big?
it's not bowling.
Isn't bowling already kind of big?
No,
not really.
Sort of.
I mean,
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, but when he says he's becoming more popular, does he mean like they're discussed all the time popular, or they just talked about?
I see.
Because bowling is talked about.
Bowling is talking about, you have the Chris Paul Invitational,
that's
the
Super
charity
Bowl,
thing
yeah,
with
so-
all the professional bowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, bowling on ESPN every Sunday.
Yeah. So.
Could be, I think bowling.
I see rugby and curling because people already kind of like curling a little bit.
Yeah, but
curling's got to follow.
Well, I'm saying curling's just the Olympics, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
it's
they
more
have
than-
championships,
Right.
But I mean, you don't do the Olympic sports. You do have championships in the meantime.
Right. Yeah.
That's not the type of curling.
I like that one. That's good. I like that.
But yeah, rugby already is. It's pretty huge in Europe. It's just like soccer over the rest of the world, but in Europe, especially in rugby, they do play rugby a lot over there. I see rugby can get pretty big.
Yeah. The only reason I say bowling is because it's so popular, and it's only bound to get more popular just because of the people they have in it.
Right. Absolutely.
Out of these other sports, I don't watch any of them. I've seen rugby frequently. I've seen it. Curling, I stay away from it. I don't care for curling. I'm sorry.
Come on.
That's just me.
Curling's awesome.
I don't want to watch people roll down looks like a moving teapot and using like brooms to move it.
Why?
I don't know.
That's awesome.
Croquet, that's something you play when you're like have $1 million in your pocket outside back during a picnic. So,
Hey, Fred Flintstone played croquet. Just saying.
your point.
They were Stone Age rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
And then cricket.
Isn't that a phone company?
No.
We know what these sports are.
But cricket, I mean, obviously is more popular, I think, in Australia.
Isn't that an animal?
So it's an insect.
And fish bait.
As far as more popular, I guess bowling when I pick up. Other than these, I can't think of anything else that could get more popular in the future. I don't know.
Rugby and curling.
Okay, good for
All right. And finally, to Prototype 400 to wrap up user questions.
No, we have one more.
Would you all agree that the WWE has overall become a stale product that has lost its touch with reality, and that with a lack of proper storytelling and character development, they have no long-term vision at all?
Wow. Someone just downed them.
Ouch!
Someone just downed them.
Where's the aluminum spray? Because the WWE just got burned.
Yowzer!
I guess that's what he thinks. Good one.
Fail.
Good one.
In a way, I kind of agree with him. In a way, I really kind of do.
You dropped the mouse, by the way.
Thank you. I wasn't aware. I kind of agree. I mean, call me crazy. I mean, yeah, they're trying.
This is crazy.
They're so old.
They're trying to get back in with their image. They're trying to revamp themselves, but they're killing themselves when they try to do it because they're trying to go back to what worked for them with The Rock. I'm sorry. The results are in. Only 50% of the people want to see Rock Cena too. I mean, it's a fact. It's one of those things that every time they make one step forward, they take 3 steps back. They're not working for the long term. They're working for right now. And I don't agree with 50 or 60% of the things that they're doing. The Shield, let's run it down. The Shield, great idea, awesome.
Team Hell No.
Team Hell No, definitely good idea. The Rock and Cena, and The Rock being the paper champion right now, horrible idea. Horrible idea because you know he's not going to be there in the long term. Why would you give him the championship belt? What they're doing with CM Punk right now, they should have had him keep on going as the champion. There's several reasons for that, and I think people would rather see CM Punk versus The Rock for the first time than The Rock Cena Part 2.
We already saw Cena Rock once.
That's what
you mean WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're doing so many wrong things right now, or so many things not necessarily wrong, but they could be doing better.
Right. I don't agree with the report where he says they have no long-term vision. I don't agree with that at all. I think, especially what Triple H did with getting San Martino in the Hall of Fame, so that he's got a good head on his shoulders to really figure things out. As far as the product being stale, I don't know. I mean...
We got some breaking news.
We got some breaking news on the show for sure.
We'll get. Is it about?
It is about OVW.
Okay, when we get to OVW, we'll get into that.
Wow.
We'll get into that. Yeah, breaking news. Anyway, but yeah, back to the question. I don't think their product is stale. I mean, there's
going back.
There's certain times where, you know, we like WrestleMania time. We enjoy it because that's their time at peak. But I agree with you to an extent, like you said. I think out of the months of the year, maybe from December to April, it's their time. After that, it's kind of like hit and miss. So,
I mean, when you're around for a whole year, it's kind of hard to hit a home run the whole season.
The attitude there.
I mean, but now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's hard to you knock it out of the park for 12 straight months.
And they have so many
year.
shows now. They have Raw, SmackDown, Main Event, Superstars, NXT. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Saturday Morning Slam.
Yeah.
And we are inundated. But anything they put out is better than TNA.
That's true.
So
these are facts.
That much is true.
So what's the final user question?
Dirk sent us a question. Dirk Coops, the viewer who we had last week, he wanted to know why OVW has stopped using Taylor Hendricks as a majority. Why they've started using her more of a jobber instead of making her be one of the superstars that she once was. She is Ohio Valley Wrestling Femme Fatale division right now. Of course, there are others like Heidi Lovelace
on the show
and Jessie Bell and Epiphany, but Taylor Hendricks is the one that they all she's the one that they all kind of come in with, you know. So Dirk's question is, why have they not used her to that effect? And
so I don't know.
It's one of those things where I kind of do understand why. I was telling you, I kind of understand why, and that is because when you only have 4 femme fatales that you're really working with all the time, you can split that time up equally. Taylor, for sure, is the one with the brighter future ahead, but her future is made. The others are not right now.
Well, to be fair, I don't think we could really comment on this because we haven't been.
Well, and
we haven't really legitimately been keeping up with it. So I'm going to withhold judgment because I don't want to give a false or unfair statement.
Right.
And I think because we haven't been and we haven't really covered it to the extent that we have in the past, to answer this question to me would be an injustice, and I don't think I can answer it properly without giving
It's one of the things that, to an extent, also I do agree with you, but just from observation, that's what I think is going on.
Yeah, and I was going to say this. I was going to say the fact that she got signed by TNA shows how good she was anyway.
Yeah,
that's
basically where I was trying to go.
Obviously, she was recognized for a reason, and TNA's like, hey, because we had a tryout for you, and she obviously made it because she deserves to be there. So.
But speaking of Taylor Hendricks, before we wrap up user questions, go to Maxim100.com. She's having this huge campaign where people write in her name.
You have to write her in. Yeah.
You have to write her in. She's not on the roster, so go to Maxim100, vote for the Hot 100, and write in Taylor Hendricks.
All right, with that wraps up user questions. We appreciate everybody's questions, comments, quandaries, queries, and criticisms.
Things and queries twice.
Oh well, it doesn't matter.
I didn't even notice.
So with that, I guess we will anoint this week's Viewer of the Week. Any thoughts? Well, we haven't. We have two questions that are yet to be answered because they're going to be topics on the show.
Right.
So I guess we'll have to go with our good buddy Buck in 5. Viewer this week's episode 87, Triple Threat Talk, Viewer of the Week.
Now, before we get to headlines, I have a question to pose all for you, and she actually mentioned this last week. He mentioned about the box of candy sent to Cult of Moo, and he actually asked the question: does he want that to be sent to us?
I told him
something like no. Okay.
But if you all want to, I told him I didn't want it because I'm trying to lose weight.
Well, you can't. You can send us anything.
I gave up sweets for Lent, so.
Well, you don't have to send us.
That's right. Lent started.
You don't have to send us candy. You can send us anything.
If you want to send us a goodie bag, send us a goodie bag.
Why not?
So with that, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into headlines. Right after this.
We're out of milk.
Are you kidding me? Mister!
What?
Up there!
I'm sorry, honey. Gotta go.
Lean on me when times are bad. And when your day comes, let you down. In the river of trouble, about to drown. Just hold on. 'Cause I'm coming. Hold on.
Milk.
'Cause I'm coming. Just hold on.
Ladies, gotta go to work.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Vickers, Big B, Brandon Amiro, Just Kendra, and my esteemed doctor, the esteemed Gary Lockhart.
I see how it is. We're on a
Thank you.
I see how it is. That's fine.
So a little bit of headline action. So,
wait. Oh yeah. Does he want me to do the?
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Before I forget.
Should it be the Harlem Shake song? Or
Big B.
Harlem Shake.
Do the Harlem Shake.
Yes. Oh yeah.
No. Come on, the Harlem Shake. It's not. You got to change it up for the Harlem
I don't think
Shake.
he's prepared for it.
I'm not prepared.
Well, just improvise. Like
if we're not careful, we're gonna end up on Tosh.0, and that's just not something I'm willing to do.
What's wrong with that? That'd be hilarious.
Anyway, it didn't really work out as well as I hoped.
Headlines. We got a gruesome picture here to show you guys.
Don't do it.
In all honesty, this is a very gruesome picture. Cue it up.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Your leg's not supposed to bend that way.
No, it is not. Can you cue the video so people can see this?
Yeah, if they want to. This is obviously very
graphic.
Wow. Nerlens Noel, the top prospect of Kentucky, many thought would be the #1 draft pick overall.
Now
his season is over, unfortunately, tearing his ACL. He is out for the season. I want to talk about this a little bit later on, but I do want to finish up with headlines here.
Why wouldn't you continue it now?
I'm going to go off on a tangent.
Let's get back
to it.
All right. So, my question is this. Nerlens Noel, all right? Top prospect, all right? Should he come back for a second season at UK if he goes maybe to the second round after his draft prospects? I think if you want the guaranteed money, and especially after seeing what came out of Seattle with Sam Bowie and Lamar Odom, all right, the two injury prone there that kept two very big superstars from reaching what would have been their peaks. Nerlens Noel has this injury, if he comes back for another year, it gives him not only a chance to rehab a little bit, but also gives him a chance to get a little bit more practice in and be a little more well-rounded.
Yeah.
That being said, should Nerlens Noel come back to UK for his sophomore season, or should he go?
He should go.
You think he should go?
He should go because, for this reason, I've already heard people say he may not be a top 5 pick, but he's still probably going to be a high lottery pick or picked in the top 15. He won't be number 1, they don't think, but he's still going to be top 15 because he has NBA talent on the defensive side of the ball. His biggest problem is the offensive side of the ball, and they can work on that pretty easily. He's a pure defender. He is the glue that holds this Kentucky team together. I think if you looked at Indiana, U of L, and UK as a whole, Nerlens Noel is the number 1 guy as far as who needs who the most for what team. I think he was the biggest piece for Kentucky's puzzle. This is a huge loss. I mean, this is absolutely
no question.
I mean, you can't replace a guy like this. I mean, and to see the way he went down, he was on a hustle play.
Yeah.
He was doing what any coach would ask. He was hustling back off a turnover to block the guy's layup. But he did the one thing that he's also taught not to do, and that is don't stop too quickly on the jump stop. And he caught himself a little too quickly. Got caught. You know, it happens all at one time. It's it's not like he can say, "Wait, I'm not supposed to stop like that."
Yeah.
It did. Unfortunately, it was a sickening injury. I hate to see it. I'm not a UK fan, but I don't wish injury on nobody. I don't wish, especially anything like that.
No.
I hope nothing but the best and a speedy recovery for Nerlens Noel, and I look for him to be a top 10 pick in the NBA draft next season.
Okay, so when I first was thinking about this question, I was immediately going to say he should go back because he should get another year under his belt. Even though this injury, it's a devastating one. He's going to want to come back stronger and play another year under Kentucky. But then I thought about Marcus Lattimore out of South Carolina. He gets injured once, he comes back for a second, he gets injured again, and I think he's a junior this year, so he decides to enter the draft anyway. So he's just going to let the dice roll. I mean, he obviously gets injured twice, but he's just going to go with it. And I think that's what this kid is going to do. Even though he got injured, and it's obviously a bad injury, it's going to take a while to recover from. I think he's going to say, you know what? I'm going to go in the draft. I'm going to test the waters. I agree with you. I think I agree with him too, as well as he's going to probably get drafted in the first round. Not number 1, but he's going to be in the first round, probably a high first round pick because of the injury. But if he gets further, he doesn't get drafted, he might pull himself out. I don't know, but I think ultimately he's going to go to the draft because, like I said, he can get injured again next year. He can get injured again next year, and the same thing can happen. So I think he's just going to say he's just going to go. So.
I think that he should go. I'm not a fan of one and done. I always think they should come back and develop their game more because he can always develop more. He can always get better before he goes into the next level. Now, an ACL injury is very serious. I've torn my ACL, when I was in high school. And the thing about those injuries are I know several players and several great players who I played with who had more than one injury. Like they tore their ACL one time and they retore it. And me knowing the type of player that Noel is, it's very probable that he could do it again. So it's not worth it to me. This is the one exception I think I could make. Like, I think he should go because he's physical. He's a great defender, and he's not very finesse. So if it's a hustle play again, or if it's him trying to block a shot or somebody playing dirty, it's just not worth it. And I feel like he should go and let the NBA handle that. You know what I mean? Like, let him get to a team, and then if he gets hurt again, then they could, rehab him, do whatever they need to do. But I don't think he should come back because, like you said, it is very, very likely, maybe I hope not, that he could get hurt again. And knee injuries are the absolute worst. Next time it could be his MCL or his PCL. It could be anything. So,
and see, I understand where you guys are coming from, but in a league that has been plagued with first round picks being injured, like Sam Bowie and Lamar Odom, like I said earlier, I think maybe NBA says, we've been here, we've done this. Been there, done that. We don't want to do this anymore. let's give this kid another year, rehab, and see if he can be what he was. Maybe they don't even, maybe when Nerlens Noel puts his name in the hat, which they do, they don't hire an agent sometimes, they put their name in the hat, which is breaking news, what Shane Bohannon, Russ Smith, and Gorky Zhang are going to do as well from the University of Louisville. No, none of the three are hiring an agent.
Right.
They are putting their names in the hat to see where their draft stock lies right now. And many a player do that. Doesn't mean they're gone. It just means that they're interested in the draft and they want to know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's not unlikely that Nerlens Noel does that, and maybe some people that have been around since the Portland Trailblazer area, or the Seattle and the Seattle Supersonics area,
Well, they're coming back. Yeah.
think that, we've been here, done that. We don't want to see this happen.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look at an injury point of view. Now, interesting news came down concerning Jadeveon Clowney, also out of the University of South Carolina, but on the football end. He's a defensive tackle, 24 games, 54 solo tackles, 32 assists, 21 sacks, tackles for loss, 33.5, with 33.5 for 159 yards, 7 forced fumbles. Clearly one of the best backs in NCAA football.
One of the best hits we saw last year.
One of the best hits we saw last year. Not injured. I don't want to start that rumor. He is not injured. But the purpose of this is to look at 2 reasons why someone else may not want to come back. In the NFL, you have to be 3 years removed from high school. You don't have to play. You have to be removed 3 years from high school. He has played his first 2 years. There is speculation that he may choose to sit out his third round or his third year and maybe go to a camp where he can concentrate on getting better, which he's already clearly very good.
Yeah.
Would something like this, I would think that missing a year under any circumstances hurt your draft stock. What is your all's opinion? Do you think that this would hurt someone as prominent as a defensive tackle, someone as prominent as Jadeveon Clowney? Would this hurt or help him more, even if he is taking the year off to check on, to hone his skills at a camp?
I think it would hurt him because I think in the NFL they kind of do what have you done for me lately?
Right.
And I don't see why he doesn't just go back and play. I mean, he has another year playing with Steve Spurrier, one of the greatest coaches in college football. Plays for a great program in South Carolina, top 10 last year. Why not go out another year? More experience, like she was saying, you always get more experience, great experience. Obviously get experience. Steve Spurrier's going to teach you a lot. He knows a lot. I don't see what the big deal is about going back. But you sit out a year, you kind of forget about you, and then if he sits out here, he goes in the draft after that. It's like, oh yeah, you're that guy. What, 2 years ago? What did you do? And it's kind of like, and then there's gonna be people that are in the draft that are more current that they're like, hey, this guy did this recently, and you're like kind of on the past. So I think he should either play or I don't know, but he should play next year.
Right, and he is very talented. I am from South Carolina, so I like USC, but the thing is, he's gonna be, if he sits out, then when he goes into the draft, it's like, okay, here's this new blood, like you said, and moreoverly, they want to know that he can compete against those kids too. He can, but the thing is, you need to go out there and prove that. Like, it's what have you done for me lately, and we don't want him to get cold feet. We need to know that the same aggression and power you had this year, we want to see that you have this year. Yeah, he might get hurt, but that happens. You know what I mean? Like, we need to know, just like Super Bowl, power went out. They just sat around. They tried to keep warming up, but look what happened. You know what I mean? Like, we need you to be playing. You might go to a camp, but we need you in a game time situation so that when you go into the draft, you come straight to camp. So it's like season, spring training, summer camp, preseason, season. So we need you ready to go. So I just think taking the year off, he could potentially get complacent, not on purpose, but just because that's what happens when you're not in a game setting. And if he's going to take a year off, he still has some proving to do because there are going to be other kids who are going to be going full force. So he needs to bring it. So
he does have the option though, and I don't know if anybody's thought of this or he's even thought of this, but if he does want to take a year off from South Carolina, he could potentially, I don't know if he can or not though, he could play a year in the CFL.
That's true. I don't know if he did that.
I don't know if he would do that, but if he didn't want to go to college for that year, he could go play a year in the CFL and then go to the NFL. I don't know if he would. That would be something he would want to
be eligible for the draft then? Could he go in the CFL and go to the draft?
I would think so, because like the doc said, you only got to be 3 years removed out of high school.
I guess he could sign for a 1-year contract.
I guess technically he'd do that, but I don't know if he would.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was just throwing that there as another option. I wouldn't recommend it doing that way. I mean, if he's going to set out, then just, set out. But I think he should go back to college. Yeah. I mean, 1 more year under Spurrier, that's a,
why not?
Why not?
You can learn,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you don't want to picking up any of those habits in those leagues. Not to say anything bad. A lot of great players come out of there, but why? Why go pick up the whatever? And I'm sure they have habits that they don't like there.
And why not play for NFL Light, aka SEC? I mean, another year in the SEC wouldn't hurt at all.
And see, that's a good point too. When you look at coaches, not every kid obviously wants to play at South Carolina, but very few kids out there would frown at the chance to spend 4 years with Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right.
I mean, that's nothing but a plus.
No. Absolutely.
There's a couple of coaches that you could do that for. I mean, Charlie Strong in that conversation, Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban, absolutely. Les Miles,
Mac
Brown, Bob Stoops, not Mark Stoops, but Bob Stoops. I mean, the list goes on. There are a few more people on that list. But there's just a certain amount of people, a certain amount of coaches that kids would love to play for 4 years.
Right.
And I'm also under the impersonation that if you go out for a year, Kendra kind of pointed on this this topic, but when you look at things, why would you risk? Because a camp is camp. Yeah. It is not game time scenario. You're going to learn some things in camp without a doubt. But there's also things that you learn on the field that cannot ever be simulated anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think in the long run that would hurt this kid. Mm-hmm. And when we come back, we've got a NASCAR expert to talk about the beginning of the NASCAR season.
We do. A guest on the show in the past was gracious enough to join us again. Caught up with him just a little bit earlier today, and Mr. Dustin Long will be joining us, and we'll be able to check that interview out right after the break.
The Fresh Maker.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Jimmy Biggers, Postmaster Jones, and I am pleased to be joined by a guest that has been on this show before, and he's been gracious enough to join us once again. NASCAR reporter from SI.com, Speed Sport Magazine, and AthlonSports.com, Mr. Dustin Long. Dustin, it's a pleasure having you back on the show. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you doing? You ready for the racing season?
Oh gosh, I'll tell you what. I think when it comes to me, I don't know how you are, but in November with Thanksgiving and everything, and then Christmas, I'm good to go. But it's like as soon as Christmas is over, it's like bring on the race, and I've had enough of off season already.
I think a lot of people feel the same way. That's for sure.
Right. So just to get in a few things a little bit, we'll go over some things, and then I'll get your picks on a couple of the races coming up. What are your thoughts on this Gen 6 car? How do you think it's going to do this season? And I know a lot of people have said that Daytona may not be the proper measuring stick for this new car. We may have to wait till we get to a 1.5 miles or a short track. And do you think, like I do, and I've seen a lot of other people think, that it will greatly improve the racing on the track?
Well, I'll tell you what, I kind of agree with Brian Keselowski recently said that, he's not going to be able to judge this car for several months. And I think the people that are putting the hope that the racing is is going to look dramatically different after Daytona, I think they're going to be disappointed. I think when the series goes to Vegas for the third race of the year, which is the first race on a mile-and-a-half track, I think essentially you're going to see the same type of racing that you've seen on a mile-and-a-half in the past. And if somebody pulls out ahead, they're going to get a big lead, and it's just going to stretch the field out. I don't think there's a magic button that you can push that's suddenly going to keep the cars all tight together like they're racing at Daytona or Talladega. Now that said, I think in essence it's going to take time. I think that there are things that probably make this car better and allow these guys to potentially race closer together. But most of the test sessions they haven't run several cars close together. They did do that at Daytona, have some drafting practice last month, and you had a 12-car crash. Well, that was really more than bump drafting. You have to see it at the mile-and-a-half where you've had a whole bunch of cars running close together. They've kind of run a little bit here and there, but not a whole lot. So for as much of work as NASCAR and the manufacturers have done, and certainly I think this is probably going to be a better racing car than the previous car. I think it's still going to take time. I don't expect to see at Las Vegas in a few weeks here that they're running 3 wide for the lead lap after lap. Now, that's obviously the goal, have something like that happen, but I think it's going to take several races. I think you just have to see how the car progresses. I think it takes time. It just reminds me of when the car tomorrow came out. Although it was brought about differently, it still took several races for teams to adjust that car, for drivers to get used to that car, and for the racing to kind of change a bit. So I think it's still going to take time. I think the excitement over the car's looking good. I think that's good for the fans right now. It's just something for them to talk about heading into Daytona. But I think if you expect the racing to be a whole lot different, I think you're going to be disappointed. I think fans have to kind of be measured in their expectations for this car. I think it's still going to take some time. But maybe by the middle of the season, latter part of the season, you may see some differences with the racing, especially on the mile-and-a-half tracks.
Do you think there's any team or maybe a manufacturer as a whole that may gain an earlier advantage with this new car over the others?
Well, again, talking with Brendan Keselowski, defending series champion, he's kind of hinted about, he feels like Toyota might be a little bit of a stronger car. Now, whether he's trying to, kind of get in the heads of officials in a sense of like, hey, watch out for these guys because, you're going to have to make a rule change to hold them back and help us out, or if it's, it's something he truly believes. The thing I go back to is I remember when the car tomorrow came out, Hendrick Motorsports won his first 5 races with that car, and I think one was like 9 of the 16 races of that season in 07. That's when I was brought out for part of the year. So I look to Hendrick Motorsports as the organization that, I'm kind of looking or kind of expect to get off to a really fast start. So that's Casey Kane, Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson, the guys that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, and I'll be interested to see how some of the other teams react to it.
All right, definitely. And we all know we're heading down to Daytona. As a matter of fact, practice kicks off tomorrow night on Valentine's Day with the shootout practice. There's 19 cars entered in the race. There were several other guys eligible in the race but did not enter a entry. What do you think of this new format with the Sprint Unlimited? With the way certain things are fan voted, like the elimination of cars after the segments, and the amount of tires you can take, and that, do you think that's a good thing, or do you think they're kind of making this into like more than it needs to be?
Well, it's very gimmicky, but so is the All-Star race. I think if you ask the competitors, they couldn't tell you what the rules were from year to year on the All-Star race. That's the same thing with the shootout, the Unlimited now. So, in that fact, for a sport that wants to have a greater connection with its fans, why not? It's an exhibition race, and it doesn't count for points. It's only for glory in essence. Why not let the fans have participate in a way? They're not letting the fans choose the drivers like the fans choose the starters in some other all-star games and other professional sports. But they're kind of doing the next best thing, kind of allowing the fans to play rule maker in a way and kind of change the format. But at the end of the day, last 10 laps, it's go time, and it doesn't matter what the rules have been and what they are. The last 10 laps, it's all about going for that checkered flag.
I can only imagine if they did the all-star type voting where you vote who in, that just how many votes Dale Jr. would actually have.
I think been the leading vote getter at times in trying to get into the All-Star race, and he's always wanted to race his way in instead of just getting the fan vote. So, but he's always been a popular pick when he has not been eligible for the All-Star race any other way. Obviously, with his win last year, he'll certainly be back in the All-Star race again this year.
And if you had to pick a winner for the Unlimited, and I know that race is a little tricky, who would you pick?
Well, it's hard to go against the Bush brothers. Kurt won 2 years ago. Kyle won last year. You remember Kyle had that spectacular race where he spun out, 2-3 times or something like that and still managed to win. I mean, it was, he was literally sideways, sparks flying and everything like that. It was probably one of the more exciting drives of the season for somebody to win a race. So, this type of format, certainly falls into the hands of the Bush brothers, but, there'll certainly be some other good ones to watch out for. But, like I said, right now, before cars have gotten on the track, it's hard to go against Kurt and Kyle Busch right now.
And moving on to Tony Stewart, we all know his success at Daytona. We all know I think is the second winningest driver all time at Daytona behind Dale Earnhardt Sr. He's won everything under the sun there besides the Daytona 500, kind of like Dale Sr. until he finally cashed in that victory in 1998. Do you think this is the year Smoke finally gets off the schneid, or for that matter, will he ever break that streak of not winning the Daytona 500?
Well, I think he'll be like Dale Sr. He'll win it eventually. It's just a matter of when. Now, that being said, if you're telling Stewart you want to win it as soon as possible because it's getting frustrating because he's been trying to do this since 99 and still hasn't been able to win the race and had all sorts of frustrations from having mechanical issues right at the start of the race to having one of the dominant cars and being involved in a wreck. So, he's had his issues, and I'm sure he'd tell you that, he's done waiting, he wants it now. I think the interesting thing with Tony, though, is can he be a championship contender again? And I know that sounds kind of funny in the sense that, this guy won a championship just 2 years ago. But if you go back and look at the numbers, Stewart has 23 wins in the last 7 seasons. That sounds great. Good for him, and obviously showing he's quite a contender. But in 6 of those 7 years, he has failed to finish in the top 5 in points. So the only time he's finished in the top 5 in points in the last 7 years was when he won the championship in 2011. And last year, had the 3 wins, but finished 9th in the points. So, obviously the question right now is when will he win Daytona? And, it certainly, he could be celebrating victory lane in a couple of weeks, but I think the bigger question is, can he be a championship contender again? Can he build, can he return to the 2011 form? And obviously, he wouldn't have won that championship unless he had that tremendous run in the chase. I mean, nobody's won 5 out of 10 races since or before then. So, what he did to win that championship was something we have seen and have not seen since. And the question is can Tony Stewart, be that type of driver or at least finish in the top 5 in points? I mean, I think everybody would admit he's probably one of the most talented drivers out there, but it's just a matter of having everything go his way, and it hasn't happened for the most part the last several years.
With the 2000, speaking on the 2011, we all know the buzz that was created with the battle between him and Carl Edwards there. Tony winning with that epic run of winning 5 out of the last 10. There was a lot of buzz all throughout the offseason and through first part of the season last year. But to me, I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like with Brad Keselowski winning the championship, there's not been as much buzz as normal over the years that, like when Jimmy Johnson won 5 in a row and Tony won it in 2011. It seems like this year, it was somebody different because for the previous 7 seasons, if his name wasn't Johnson or Stewart, he didn't win the championship. And it just seemed like we're not hearing as much about it as you think we would have. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there certainly was a lot of buzz at the end of last season in the sense of it was a different type of champion. It was a younger champion. It was a champion that a lot of fans could relate to because they had connections with him through Twitter and social media and so forth. And obviously the interview on ESPN after winning the championship at Homestead, video going viral certainly brought a lot of talk about Brad Keselowski. I think that there's been a good bit of talk about him, this off season, and I think there's been maybe more so talk as you look ahead to the new car and what it will do for the series, and what it will do for the season, and how it will change things. So in that sense, I think Brad has been a little bit overshadowed by the car, but I think certainly people have talked about Brad, and we'll continue to talk about Brad. I think he'll be a point of conversation, and in the coming days and in the coming weeks and months. So, I think for him, I don't think he worries too much about that. It's all about winning championships, and he's focused on this season. He's not looking back. I mean, his point that he made was, hey, when the calendar turned from 2012 to 2013 on January 1st, he's like, look, I was the 2012 Series champion. Hey, that year's over, so I'm nothing in that sense. So, he's got to go out and prove it again and show that he can win consecutive championships, and that he can be as great as a lot of people are projecting for him, as seeing him as being the next true big superstar of the sport, the young driver that will lead the sport into a new frontier on and off the track. So I think there's still a lot that's been spoken about Brad. I think there will be a lot more, because he certainly is an engaging and interesting figure in the sport.
So other than Brad Keselowski, who do you think has the best shot, or who would you, if you had to pick today, your top 3 or 4 guys that have the best shot of winning the championship this season, who would you go with?
It's hard to go against Jimmy Johnson, 5 straight championships, and then in the last 2 years hasn't won a championship, so that's like a severe drought for that team. Even though he's been close, and obviously finished third in the points last year, so it's hard to discount that team as long as Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals are together. Another team that I look at is Casey King, and I think a lot of people are overlooking Casey King and crew chief Kenny Francis, and I think one of the things that maybe one of the strikes against Casey in the past was that he had not been in that championship chase, and he'd not been in that pressure, and he got a lot more taste of it last year in finishing career high 4th in the points. No, he wasn't in the championship battle all the way down to Homestead, but he was in the championship battle, 6-7 races on through the chase, so he got more of a feel of it, more of a flavor of it, and I think that was the one thing that was missing, was Casey just hadn't had that experience and hadn't had that success in the chase to really feel like what it's like to be a contender. Years ago, it used to be you needed to lose a championship to win it, is what the saying was. Now there's a second place curse in regards to the points, but I think what you see nowadays is that you just need to have some experience with having success in the chase, and that can carry over the next year. We saw Brad Keselowski in 2011. Nobody would have predicted him to finish in the top 5 in points, and he was, third in the points all the way going into the Martinsville race, like the 7th race of the chase, and then got a record on final 10 laps and lost a bunch of points, and that really kind of hurt or hindered his championship hopes at that point. I know he said they had to kind of take some more gambles, and some things didn't work out, and kind of went by the wayside, but he used that experience, what he learned in the chase, the first 7 races or so. You can kind of see a similar thing with Casey King. The 2 other drivers that kind of catch my eye, obviously Matt Kenseth. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with Joe Gibbs Racing, moving over from Roush Fenway Racing. I think there's an expectation he'll raise the level for the entire Joe Gibbs Racing organization. I think there's high expectations on Kenseth, although the key will be how well does he work with the new crew chief Jason Ratcliffe in forming that partnership. And then another driver that I kind of keep an eye on is I think this is the first time in years that you can say Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a legitimate title contender going into a season. I don't think you could have said that many of the last few seasons. And I think one thing that intrigues me about Junior is just the development that he's made and the growth of that team with Steve Letarte as the crew chief, and this is their 3rd year together. And something to note is, last year Brad Keselowski wins the championship. It's his 3rd season with crew chief Paul Wolf. In 2011, Tony Stewart wins the championship. It's his 3rd season with Darian Grubb. And as I mentioned, this is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 3rd season with Steve Letarte. So it's worked for a couple of guys the last couple of seasons. Could this be the year that Dale Jr. wins the championship? I think a lot of things have to happen for that to occur. But I think, like I said, going into a season, I think it's the first time in years you can say that Dale Jr. is a championship contender.
Yeah, you're not the first one to say that, so I'm not surprised by that pick there. Real quick before we let you go, Dustin, I want to thank you for the time. What do you think your chances are about your Indiana Hoosiers winning the national title this year?
Certainly, we'll see what happens. You never know what can happen in March, but, certainly they've been strong this year, and we'll see what happens. I mean, it's this college basketball season's wide open, so, it's just a matter of getting hot for 3 weeks. They've got the team that can do it, but there's certainly a lot of other teams that can do it too, and who knows, there may be a Cinderella that pops out, like we've seen with Butler in past years. So, hopeful that, we'll see what happens. Still a long way to go in the year.
Well, Dustin Long, speedsport.com, si.com, Athlon Sports, I really want to thank you for coming on the show again. We appreciate it, and we look forward to chatting with you again real soon.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Dustin.
Would you like an autograph? I do way more for the fans.
I doubt that very much.
Do you like this hat? Here, it's yours. You can have it.
Take one of my helmets. It's much better than the hat.
What about a ride home? Can I give you a ride home? I mean,
even better. Take my car. Do whatever you want with it.
Kidding me? Can you beat that?
I don't think so.
True champions know what fans really want. Mobil 1, the official motor oil of NASCAR. Many champions, many fans. One oil. Mobil 1.
No one expected me to be here. No one expected me to be a starter, to hit game-winning shots, or even play in this league. Well, I'm not here to live up to anyone else's expectations. I'm here to live up to mine.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Just Kendra, Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and the esteemed doctor, the esteemed one, Gary Locker.
The esteemed
I greatly want to appreciate Dustin Long coming on the show again. He joined us at the end of last NASCAR season.
I like talking to him about basketball.
I actually talked to him.
Did you?
You'll hear a little clip at the end. I said, before I let you go, I said, what do you think of your prospects of your Hoosiers winning the national title? And he gave me a little bit of opinion, so tune in for that. Check that out. So, but good stuff as always. Very informative, talking about the Generation 6 car and his thoughts on the new format with the Sprint Unlimited, and a couple of the guys he thought would have a good shot at winning the title. So, good stuff there.
Repeat guest, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks to him again for that. And speaking of Indiana, nice little segue there. We know you like segues.
They got it done against Ohio State, 81-68 to stay number 1.
I was surprised. I know basically the entire top 10 lost almost.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to have to deal with Puke being number 1 again, but...
The boys in blue are number 2, though.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited.
However, when we last left the Triple Threat Talk studios, Indiana did lose. That's what was surprising. As a matter of fact, I broke the news to the doctor. I said, Doc, Indiana just lost to Illinois. And he was like, what?
It was insane.
It was insane, but it was a wild week in college basketball.
Yeah, a lot of the top 10 did lose. Michigan in that mess as well. That
they got trounced last night. Of course, to Michigan State. It is rivalry week going on in ESPN. Kentucky not only lost Nerlens Noel, they lost the game by 17 points. So at this point, you've got so many things happening in college basketball, and we're going to start a little bit more on top of that. And as we draw closer to March Madness, we're going to give you some things where some people might be. 5 overtimes.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 overtimes
was a big game, and that's where we're going next.
And I know you mentioned the first time you were on the show, like who you look to as like an inspiration was Dick Vitale. And he said, I sent to you, he said on Twitter, in the 34 years he covered basketball, his most exciting game he watched was between Louisville and Notre Dame.
104 to 101. I didn't watch the game.
I watched every minute.
But I told you, one of the first things I said when I called you, I said, I didn't watch the game, but let me guess what happened. U of L went into South Bend, and Notre Dame forced them to play that god-awful tempo.
Oh, it was awful.
That's exactly what happened.
Here's the thing, right? I
was tied at 60 at the end of the regulation.
I watched
ridiculous.
I watched the third overtime on, and it seemed no matter how many times Louisville would take the lead, no matter what Notre Dame threw up at the basket, it would go in. No matter what happened.
They were making some threes that you just don't make.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the end of the regulation. And I have to disagree with Dick Vitale. It was not one of the most exciting basketball games.
Well, not for us. Not for
no, and take me being a fan of U of L out of it.
Okay.
It was sloppy. Very sloppy. It was ugly. Yeah. And FYI, hello, Rick Pitino, just like money, you can't take timeouts with you when you die. So why are you not taking them?
Right.
Use them.
Yeah.
There's no way you should have 3 timeouts by the 4th overtime.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. But, I mean, it was what it was. Louisville blew a 7-point lead in the last 40-something seconds. 3 miracle threes there at the end. Got it tied, and then, but it was definitely. It was a good game, but I will say it didn't measure up to the Syracuse-Connecticut 6 overtime game from the Big East tournament a couple years ago. Now that
was exciting.
Was exciting and riveting.
It doesn't 104-101 sound like a small score for a 6-5 overtime?
That's what I was telling him. That's why
104 to 101.
They went into South Bend and they played themselves to Notre Dame's level, and that's something that you can't do, especially on the road, when U of L is capable of so much more of a high tempo, pressing the ball like they do, getting the ball low on the block to Gorky Zhang, letting him take care of things in the post. You have the backcourt of Peyton Siva and Russ Smith. Mm-hmm. Russ makes some bad decisions every now and then, but he's still a dynamic player, and this team is definitely going to be hurting next year should he go pro. Yeah. Russ Smith just makes so many good decisions. I had a couple people on Facebook saying that this loss was on one player, pointing at Russ Smith. I disagree completely. I think that Gorky Zhang missed a pass at the end of regulation that he should have made and threw up to make the game 62-60. I feel the same way for a pass in overtime that Russ Smith did himself miss. And I feel that Russ Smith, at another point in time, walking the ball up in the 4th overtime when he wasn't even at midcourt around the 5-second mark, and he clearly should have been on the other side taking a shot. Right. For me, U of L looked a lot like UVK in one aspect. Free throws bit them in the butt. That is where they lost the game. They did not lose this game because of a missed pass. They did not lose this game because of bad ball timing. They lost this game because a group of wonderful free throw shooting athletes couldn't get it done at the charity stripe this time around.
And that's the most important thing. If you look at a lot of teams, like that will lose a game for you.
Absolutely.
Because you're not always going to have the best, night from the field. But, those free throws is where you get a second, 10 little seconds to breathe, calm down. You can, you know what I mean?
Right.
If you would have made 3 more than you missed, then, you know what I mean, it would have been a game. But I think that this game was a great preface for March Madness. It sets the tone, and I think it's a wake-up call to all the teams in the NCAA that anything goes, anybody's fair game. Number 1, you could go home in the first round. Like, it just doesn't matter. Great teams go home all the time. I like to use George Mason. Like, I was like, how the hell did they get in there? Anything goes.
I gotta say, with both likely number 1 seeds, U of L and Kansas, if either one of those teams play like they did this past weekend, if you're a number 1 seed, you got to figure could be a 16 seed year because both of them played so god awful it was ridiculous. Yeah. It's just it doesn't get much more simple than that. And from that, let's talk about another tournament here with Big B. Let's talk about Nadal's first tournament.
All right, so he comes back from the knee injury that's sidelined him since last July. He plays in this tournament, Vina Del Mar, down in Chile. The field's not really impressive. The only person that was there that I really heard of that had some, playing time, and that was actually prominent, was Jeremy Chardy from France. He got to the quarters of the Australian Open, so he actually had some playing experience. Nadal pretty much beat him pretty easily, and like I said, Nadal's on clay, so he knows what he's doing. That's his surface. He faced Harash. This is the guy I've heard of very little of, but he's pretty good. Horatio's the ball, so he actually beat Nadal in the final in 3 sets. So a player that Nadal should easily beat on clay takes him out in the final. I think this is Sabal's first tournament win in his career, so kudos to him for getting a tournament win. You make
and against Nadal.
Yeah, you get the big bucks when you win a tournament, so he's going to get a nice big payday for that. As far as Nadal looked, I still agree with what Alex Johnson said a couple weeks ago in the interview, and we both agree with that Nadal doesn't look like the favorite to me going into Paris. He's still a little bit too slow to me. A lot of drop shots went by him. I think that people want to test his legs, and hey, that's very smart. You're going to test the guy's legs by doing a lot of drop shots, and they definitely did that down in Chile to really see if he still had the speed. It's going to take him some time to get back to the form he once had. Obviously, Nadal, the talent's never going to leave him. The guy's extremely talented, one of the best tennis players of all time. So he's obviously going to be back to form. But right now, Djokovic is playing a lot better than he is. Even though he is the king of clay, as they call him. He is the best player in the history of tennis on clay. Djokovic is playing a lot better than he is. I think Nadal's going to get to the final in Paris. He might get tripped up by somebody. Like I said, the only time he lost was to Robin Soderling, and he's not even playing right now. I think he's either injured or he's not playing at the moment at a high prominent level. So Nadal could easily get beaten again by someone like that. Someone could have the tournament of their life like he had. But you know what? Again, it's good to see Nadal back. Obviously, it's good for the sport, but he's not back to 100% yet. Some people are saying, "Oh, this is good for him because he got to play." But I think he looked good enough. So when we come back from break, whoa! You pointed at the phone.
Jumping ahead, fella. You're jumping ahead.
Well, yeah. So like I said, I think Nadal he looks good, but it's going to take him some time to get back to 100%.
We got 5 more minutes. Okay. We're going to finish up headlines in that 5 minutes.
You pointed at the phone. I was like, what?
The Olympics remove wrestling for the 2020 Olympics.
That's an atrocity.
I said the founding sport. For those of you that don't know, the Olympics started with Greco-Roman style wrestling.
BC.
Over 70 countries participate in this event. Now, golf was being, Big B is under the same misconception a lot of people that I spoke with earlier in the day about this, Facebook and on Twitter, have about this, that golf replaced wrestling. It, in fact, did not replace wrestling. Golf was put on the docket 8.5 years ago now, to be on the 2016 Olympics, not the 2020 Olympics. What is being replaced here is the modern pentathlon, which 30 countries took part in last year. So they're losing an event 40 countries in for a less popular event. They're discarding their primary factor, their primary main focus, their starting focus with something that's not so much. What are your thoughts on this? I think it's an atrocity. I think this is the stupidest thing I've heard of in a long, long while, and this is a show that weekly names an idiot of the week.
It's bad.
The IOC may definitely be,
but it's
the idiot of the week.
It's bad in terms of it's been around since like the BC era, since like the Greek
gladiators.
Greek Roman days, and 2. Look at all the people that are in WWE that've done that stuff. Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, Kurt Angle, Jack Swagger. I mean, I can keep going, but that's pretty much people I can think of.
The Steiners.
Yeah, the Steiners. I mean, a lot of people. Brock Lesnar.
I
mean, it's just, I don't understand why you would get rid of this. Obviously, there's a petition on Facebook, and you can like use hashtag save. I think it's a hashtag save. I can look it up, but I think it's like save Olympic wrestling or something like that. So I don't know if that's going to do anything, but it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, like I said, it's been around for a long, long time, and what purpose does it serve to get rid of it?
I don't think it
What
does.
I don't get, you get rid of wrestling, but you keep speed walking. Really? What the is speed walking?
Are you serious? Or
Yes, no, I am serious. I'm not right. I'm serious.
Speed walking.
Speed walking.
Heck, I could do speed walking. We could
all do speed walking. So you get rid of wrestling and you keep speed walking, fencing. Who cares?
Fencing is awesome.
I like fencing.
Fencing is amazing.
It's not as epic as wrestling.
Fencing is exciting.
Fencing is awesome.
Ping pong.
Ping pong is exciting.
I watch marksmanship. I watch fencing.
Speed walking.
I agree with that one. I like fencing.
Speed walking. Really?
I don't like ping pong.
Bad decision all around.
I just think that wrestling is very universal. When I was young, my dad watches, he still watches it. He watched it back then. We used to sit down, family hour, around after dinner, and sit down and watch it. It's universal, black, white, man, woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's a shame.
Yeah.
I
was going to say, I like fencing because, like, who doesn't like seeing people fight with swords? Okay, and then ping pong, it's just the way they hit the ball with the paddle that fast is just ridiculous. So.
But
if Forrest Gump can do ping pong, anybody.
Hey, Forrest Gump is epic, so I don't want to hear it from you. Man, he met the president, he played football, he did it all, so I don't want to hear it.
Last headline of the day, LeBron James setting an all-time NBA record, becoming the first player to go 6+ games with 30+ points, shooting greater than 60%. That is just insane. I did see a statistic. He's 100% on the right outside of the wing beyond the arc, which is just ridiculous. 100% over his last 6 games. 85% down low on the post. He's cold on the left side. He is very cold on the left side. But what are your thoughts on this? This is just sickening. And he probably is going to go 7 and 8 games doing this too.
It's good stuff. I mean, he's the modern day Jordan to an extent. I mean, he's a one-man wrecking crew.
He's awesome. I think that he's very humble. That's the one thing I like about LeBron James. I'm a Celtics fan, but I'm a personal LeBron James fan. You know, so I'm not a big Heat person. But whatever he's like in the offseason, I think he called up what did he call it? Dr. J, and Dr. J gave him some post-move help and, work with him. So he takes the initiative in the offseason to get better. So that's why he can come out here and have an outstanding game like that, because he works in the offseason. So
we'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll talk a little bit more about this after the break.
Take me back to 1999. Yuvo, play jukebox. Need a better car? My Optima was ranked most appealing midsize sedan by J.D. Power & Associates.
Who are you?
I'm you from the future. You should be playing that game.
But all you did was dunk in that game.
Bingo. Yeah.
Welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. This is just Kendra along with Big V, Jimmy, and the Doc.
There you go.
It was good for a first try.
That's right.
You were.
Go ahead, finish your thought about
No, I just like him. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's very skilled. But the main thing is that he's humble and he actually works in the off season. I'm sure he has a lot of money to spend, but he does that too. But he works, and that's why he comes back. And I think that he's improved every season, and he gets better with every game. Even when he falls into a funk or a slump, he finds some type of way to fight back and, just improve. And that's really what it's about. When you love a sport, when you love the game of basketball, you want to get better in your off time. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's better than Jordan or he's on Jordan's level, because that
needs to be seen.
Right.
Yeah, I can't say that either.
But he's making great strides, and one day he could potentially reach that level.
Yeah.
I mean, soon.
He better win some more titles.
Yeah, he needs some more rings. But he's a phenomenal basketball player, and so yeah.
It was funny because I was listening to Mike and Mike this morning. They were talking about with Cleveland and Chicago, what happened when they left. It's they had. Obviously LeBron didn't get he got to the finals a couple times, but they didn't win any titles with him in Cleveland. He obviously won his first ring.
I like Mike's analogy, Greenberg. He said it was him and a team of nobodies.
Yeah, but he got to the finals a couple times, I think it was twice, and they lost every time.
They got swept once.
Swept by the Spurs, who had phenomenal talent.
Yeah, and
but then you go to Michael Jordan won 6 rings, and you had obviously him and Pippen and Rodman and all those people, and Phil, Phil Jackson, and then. It's funny, they said when they left, when they disbanded Phil and Pippen and Jordan all left, the Bulls were 13-37 in the lockout season, and then when LeBron left Cleveland, they were 13 and 69 or something like that. They were horrible. So
one of the things that I heard today that was an absolute absurd statement, I told Postmaster earlier, was that somebody said that Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman didn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because Michael Jordan made them better players. And I had to completely disagree because Dennis Rodman himself was named defensive MVP for 3 years straight. Yeah. So it's kind of ridiculous to even make that statement. Scottie Pippen helped Michael Jordan in so many ways just by being there, by being that second guy that could shoot a bucket. When you look at that time frame, Scottie Pippen was the second most scorer. In some games, he did outscore Jordan. Yeah. So I mean, there were games where Michael Jordan had 4 points, but his presence on the court was just that much powerful, that much power behind it.
Or sometimes he scored a lot of points and they still lost.
Yeah.
And in basketball, you can have 60 points and you guys still can lose. It
happens. Yeah, it happens. It happened with the Lakers not too long ago. Kobe threw up 30 and 40 and they still lost.
That's what I'm saying.
And he starts passing the ball and start winning games. Who knew?
Yeah.
But and again, people will disagree, and that's fine. But I guarantee you, if Jordan had Pippen and Rodman that team, they would have won 6 championships.
Absolutely.
They might have won 1 or 2.
Yeah,
but not 6.
They're not 6.
Basketball is not an individual sport; it's a team sport.
Yeah.
You have to count on your team. Jordan can't do it by himself. He was as great as Jordan is. He can't do it by himself. Bill Russell can't do it by himself. Larry Bird can't do it by himself.
Chamberlain can't do it by himself.
It's a team sport.
And not to mention, a lot of stuff goes on off the court too. Jordan had his, things going on off the court too, but Pippen and I think Rodman were there for him, supporting him, so they were friends too. So you come into a game with stuff on your mind, you play bad. I mean, he
Tiger Woods is an example of that as well.
So.
Speaking of golf, quick golfing note: Brent Snedeker wins the AT&T Pro-Am at Pebble Beach. You're thinking who won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, but why I bring this up?
Why do you bring it up?
Brent Snedeker won the FedEx Cup last year, the playoff. He has started off this year with 2 seconds, a third, and a first.
Yeah,
pretty good.
He is stapling his name as one of the best 3 golfers in the world right now, and he is staking claim at that number 1 spot, that he wants to be number 1, and that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for this season.
I think Phil Mickelson might have something to say about that.
We shall see. It's going to be a pretty good golfing season.
Yes, it will.
The first big major, of course, is the Masters in April, but
the Masters.
I like to do this because that's like the Tiger Woods.
Yeah, there you go.
And Jim Nance will call it, of course.
Yeah.
He calls everything.
He calls everything.
Here we are.
Like how he's
Bob Costas.
I like how his decibel level is way up here for football when it's right down here for golf.
Yeah, golf. It's
and then
hello, friends.
Here we go.
Welcome to Augusta National.
Jerome, that's quiet. This is Jim Nance.
This is Jim Nance.
And we go to the 5th
illustrious green here.
Jim Nance can do it all.
That does it for headlines.
Yep, good stuff all the way around. So we'll move into wrestling here.
All right, so OVW.
Breaking news.
You got a text. I saw. I didn't see what he said. So let's break the news.
Michael Rickard said. Michael Wildcard Rickard is in attendance at OVW. Just said that replacing the stepping down Trailer Park Trash Frank Miller as director of operations is none other than friend of the show, been on the show.
Wow.
Michael Hayes is now the director of operations at Ohio Valley Wrestling. So definite.
I can make a statement myself, and I guarantee the consensus is the same. We're probably going back to OVW.
We're probably going back to OVW for the foreseeable future.
Wow.
So that is huge news.
I'm for it. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, people have been with the show a long time know that at one point he did guest host the show. Mm-hmm. He's been in a few interviews. All around good guy.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. A great man. War hero.
Nothing to dislike.
Lost his leg in service to our country. Yeah. There is nothing at all more exciting than that news coming down from Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Absolutely.
So that's a good decision, a good hire, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the thing for OVW this week. That's the highlight for me.
You can't get
the highlight. You can't. That is definitely the highlight.
If you want to check out more, go to ovmania.blogspot.com to check out the Brian Cannon.
I guarantee you, he's going to have something to say about this.
Check out the Brian Cannon's blog about that. You can check them out on WKYI channel 138 on Insight at 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Saturdays, and also go to blit.tv/OVWrestling to check out their episodes. They're uploaded on Thursdays.
Good job with that. Now we're on to
OVWrestling.com.
WWE coverage. Big B.
Yes.
We had a busy weekend, fella.
Oh, you had a more busy weekend than I did.
On Sunday, we got to take in the WWE SmackDown house show.
Yeah, it was good. Actually, it was on the news. It was on NBC.
Which is cool.
NBC affiliate. They showed the Kofi Kingston match, and they talked to some of the people. They were saying who their favorites were. The kids saying John Cena and The Rock, obviously. So
right.
It was good. It got coverage.
Yeah, it was good. It got coverage. It was a decent house show.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that because with wrestling house shows, they put out a promotional flyer they put out a commercial to promote the show for the local area, and they mentioned Daniel Bryan and they mentioned Kane. We didn't see Daniel Bryan or Kane.
No, we did not.
And our friend Michael was not too happy about that.
We did not. It was the main event we saw was your good buddy Wade Barrett
going
through a table against Alberto Del Rio in a no disqualification match for the World Heavyweight title.
I don't know if I told you this, but it was supposed to be the Big Show in that match.
Yes, I knew that.
Okay,
he missed it because it was probably going to be Wade Barrett versus Kofi for the Intercontinental title. That's why you saw 3MB twice.
Lucky for us, the Big Show missed the show.
Yes, exactly.
So, but it was overall a good show, good crowd. I like the Yum Center, very nice arena. Really, it's very hard to have a bad seat in that place. It's a very nice arena.
Yep.
Went there for a Raw. It was great. House show was great, but we need something other than house show because it's getting kind of old.
It was getting very old. We need a pay-per-view or another Raw or something.
I mean, the Yum Center is it is the premier facility in the United States right now. There's no reason at all that Louisville, Kentucky, a place that Vince McMahon does hold fond in his heart, there is no reason that we should not have a pay-per-view.
By the way, one quick note about OVW that I forgot to mention. If you haven't seen it, for the last couple days, OVW has been featured on WWE.com.
Because of the Lesnar,
Cena, Batista, and Orton. So check that out.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like when the Yum Center opened, they got that Raw. They took it. They said it was supposed to be in Tennessee.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Tennessee, and Tennessee was supposed to get a pay-per-view, and later we were supposed to get a pay-per-view.
We got the Raw, and that's all we've gotten. Yeah. We haven't got anything else up to that.
So they cut that deal, and
I've heard people say, reports are, well, we don't get a big enough crowd for them to bring the pay-per-view, but that's because you keep bringing house shows. People get tired of it.
People don't want to go to a house show. People Louisville, we have the Louisville Cardinals, and that's it. And we have the Derby once a year.
We have the bats that
I'm talking about major television market. The bats don't get on TV.
Well, no,
but what I'm saying is, like, those events draw.
Right.
U of L sells out just about every game, just like UVK. The Derby, hundreds of thousands of people attend.
Yeah, from everywhere.
We come to big events here in Kentucky. And it's something to keep in mind.
That's the prominent thing in Kentucky is the Derby.
So moving on to Raw.
Okay. What?
I'm just saying, moving on to Raw. I thought you were going to say something.
I only wrote it down as just to put it on there.
Oh, okay. Well, I was there.
Oh, you tried. That's why.
I took the trip down to Nashville, Tennessee. Me and the head of Triple Threat Talk Security, Chris the Fella Fallbush, was in attendance. Dude, that place was packed to the ceiling.
Sold out.
It was packed to the ceiling. Oh, it was packed to the ceiling with people. It was a decent show. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Yeah. It had its moments.
You missed Jack Swagger's match.
I was having ice cream and a Diet Dew.
You missed his new manager.
That's okay.
Zeb Coulter.
I'm not missing much.
Yeah, you were. He missed his epic mustache.
No, you know what was epic? I did the only proper thing that The Rock should do. I abandoned the vehicle at the Burger King parking lot at 2 in the morning and I walked back to Tootsie's. That was hilarious. I laughed hysterically. That was funny.
As we said on the show, Jack Swagger now has his own mouthpiece. Mouthpiece.
We've said that for a long time.
Yeah, we've said that for a while.
Maybe listening to us.
We've suspected for a while that somebody over there is listening to us.
He needs a manager.
CM Punk gets the last word in on
Which means he's
Rock.
going to lose Sunday.
Which means he's probably going to lose on Sunday. No surprise there. We didn't see that coming. The Shield gets laid out by Sheamus, Cena, and Ryback, which makes me think we could see a Shield victory on Sunday.
It's all about the last word.
But
yeah, good Raw. Yeah. I know you were kind of disappointed that they didn't have the t-shirt you were looking for.
No, they didn't have the Jericho shirt, so I'm going to have to order that online.
Gotta go online with those things sometimes.
So with that, let's do some Elimination Chamber pick'ems. The pre-show of the night, we get a reuniting fella.
Oh, what? Pre-show?
Team Cody's Mustache versus a new tag team that has got me all kinds of befuddled. Brodus Clay and Tensai.
Yes.
I'm going to give this to Rhodes Scholars.
That's the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. A huge white bald guy dancing with it. Yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, I know.
So, I can't believe I'm picking this, but they're the hot new team. I go with Brodus Clay and Tensai as much as I don't want to pick it. It's just pathetic. But
I agree with him. I think this is a way to get them over. The Divas title is on the line. Caitlyn is defending against Tamina.
I'm going Tamina.
I don't think Caitlyn loses it this early. I pick Caitlyn.
Caitlyn wins. United States title, Antonio Cesaro, who beat up The Miz on Monday, using his body as a ragdoll, throwing it against the barricade.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz.
I'm going Cesaro.
I think they still like Cesaro to keep the belt.
As much as I think The Miz should win here, I don't think he's going to. I pick Cesaro. And Big B's favorite match of the night, the World Heavyweight title is on the line.
Give me a barf back.
Viva Darello! Alberto Del Rio versus The Big Show.
I'm going Del Rio. I don't think he loses it. Big Show just had his chance. So.
Do I have to pick?
Yes.
How about Kendra picks for me?
Yeah, I want to pick The Big Show because I know.
No!
He is.
But
I want
she picks The Big Show, so that's why I picked.
I picked Del Rio. No. In the Elimination Chamber for the #1 contender for the world title. We might all be in agreement here, I think, but I'm not sure.
This is a tough one.
Randy Orton versus Jack Swagger versus Y2J versus Mark Henry versus Kane versus Daniel Bryan. And we will make our pick for this match.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
And wrap up. That's why I'm giving you the break to think about it.
Right.
So we'll make our pick for this match, and we'll finish our pick'ems and the rest of the show right after this.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar. I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Just Kendra, Big B, Brendan Miro, and the esteemed doctor, the esteemed one.
The esteemed one.
That's his new name, the esteemed one.
The esteemed
Gary Lockard.
It belittles us down here.
So, that's the point.
Oh! You get used to it.
So, Big B, as the rule with these type matches, you get 2 picks.
Okay.
So we'll start with you. Who do you like in this match?
Well, obviously, we were talking during the break, and you have to base off these picks kind of like who's going to face, Del Rio or Big Show at WrestleMania. So who can you pick? I get Swagger out there. He's back too early. Henry's back too early. I think we're on the same page where I think Kenny and Deborah are going to fight each other because I think that's where they're headed. So I think consensus knocks out those people. So my picks are Randy Orton and Chris Jericho.
I agree with you.
I'm going to take Jericho for sure. I don't think right now, Orton's been getting in too much trouble with the company lately. I do think Swagger's too soon. Mark Henry, last time we saw him, he was on the world title hunt. So my other pick is going to be Mark Henry.
Okay.
Kendra?
Chris Jericho and Kane.
Yes, everybody likes Jericho. He's the man.
Everyone likes Jericho. Right.
The 3-on-3 6-man tag. Team WWE, I guess you could say, or Team Faces, or Team Superheroes, basically.
Yes.
You have the fella, the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Gonna see him a week from Friday.
Feed me more. Ryback. And, of course, Mr. Super
Fruity Pebbles.
The Fighting Fruity Pebble, John Cena.
Go to your local supermarket.
Versus Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins. The Shield.
I'm going with the Shield on this one. If you're gonna have a big villain, it's the key of every story that's ever told. You gotta have him win a battle, a major battle, and I like the Shield to win this one.
John Cena is not gonna get his big win this month. It's gonna be WrestleMania against The Rock, I think. But we didn't think the Shield were gonna win that TLC match either, and they won. I think they're really pushing the Shield really well. I think the Shield will win this one.
I like the Shield.
The Shield.
I like the Shield.
Yes,
we all like the Shield.
Really?
And finally, the WWE title is on the line. CM Punk will go for his 455th straight day.
Apparently he still has the belt.
Yes. Well, he does now. He stole the belt from The Rock.
According to him, it was his to begin with.
455th straight day as title reign as champion against Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock.
A.k.a. the Tooth Fairy, a.k.a. Fast Six, a.k.a.
Good looking.
Oh!
Sorry.
I think WWE, I'm hoping that this last couple of weeks have been an outcry, and an outcry have been an indicator. It probably isn't, and I know The Rock is going to win, but I'm going to pick CM Punk out of spite.
Out of spite and out of spite.
Because I strongly want the person from WWE watching us to realize Rock Cena 2 is a bad idea.
So are you like Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes.
Okay.
So CM Punk, even though I know The Rock is going to win.
Big B.
Well, if The Rock's going to win, you picking CM Punk?
I know.
Oh, for spite. I missed the word for spite. As much as people are complaining and whining about Rock Cena 2, it's going to draw them money. Who cares?
It's going to draw ratings.
Who cares about money? Okay. It's going to draw ratings.
They're looking short term. This is exactly what Prototype was saying. It's exactly what I'm talking about, what he's talking about. They are looking
One match doesn't make looking short term.
It's putting money in their pocket now and screw the future.
It's all about the money.
And it's not, should not be, especially when you have people in their 50s and 60s have been watching since they were kids. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, back to I picked The Rock.
Kendra probably picks The Rock on The Rock's good looks, right?
She circled The Rock like 50 times.
Yeah. The Rock wins. There's no doubt about it.
The Rock.
So that's Elimination Chamber pick'ems.
Did you just write future Mrs. Kendra Johnson?
The Rock.
Up here she did.
The Elimination Chamber is this Sunday, so check that out on pay-per-view.
Is Elimination Chamber at Casa del Miro?
The Elimination Chamber will be at Casa del Miro.
I don't think I will be in attendance, but we'll miss your presence.
We'll miss your presence, but
you'll be here in spirit.
That'll be more room on the couch. So
we'll do this every 5 seconds to make sure you're here.
Yeah. So before we anoint the Idiot of the Week, do you guys have a wild card?
Oh, my wild card's kind of what you said earlier. As he said earlier, we did get a TV deal through Insight Public Access. They are now owned by Time Warner. That's kind of what they are. They're Time Warner now. This is something that we kind of forgot about. We filled out papers.
Literally.
Yeah, we filled out papers way back when, I think summer of 2011. I was we were in talks with the guy. We talked with Keetrick Davis, and we filled the paperwork out and we filled it out. We sent it in, and he was kind of saying it's a waiting game. You have to wait and see because there's lots of shows that have a spot. You have to wait for one of them to drop out, and that spot.
A lot of them dropped out
because they moved the locations, and you kind of have to wait for your spot. So we waited. We waited, and we eventually just forgot about it. Mm-hmm. And then the other day I got a call and said we're spots open, and I couldn't believe it. And I told him, and he told him, and I told her, and it was a shock to us because
we're epically excited.
Because whether people know it or not, public access is how you get to somewhere.
There's a lot of people that started on public access.
Oprah, Howard Stern. That's how you get started. And he said people are watching, so we
Mike Myers, Dave Harvey.
What's it? Extreme close-up. Whoa!
Whether you like it or not, that is epic.
I agree. But yeah, I guess like I said, we're very thrilled for the opportunity to be on the public access and to share with the entire city of Kentucky. Sorry, the entire state of Kentucky, the entire city of Louisville, everyone that has Time Warner Cable, that we know our stuff about sports and everything we talk about on this show is going to reflect on that show once we get it started going. There's not going to be another sports show like us, so stay tuned. It's going to be very exciting.
It certainly sucks as it cuts.
It certainly does suck. I'll never bow to a corporate sponsor.
And before I do my wild card, we want to thank Cheryl Bodie Cheryl Connolly and Terry Bodie for everything they do. Check us out on www.triplethreattalk.com and thefanadvocate.com. Speaking of that,
yes.
We have we need your all's help. We need some.
Yes.
A couple of months ago, I made a push.
I don't think anyone really heard that.
No one really heard that.
Well, they did, but I ignored it.
We're seriously, guys, totally serious right now. We need you guys to help us out with some amateur content. Thank you, Diet Mountain Dew.
No Mountain Dew.
We need you guys to send us some stuff. Put your name on it. I swear you'll get the credit. We need you guys to write a few blogs for us. Just like whatever kind of interests you. Put it in writing. It can be about WWE. It could be about hockey.
Yes.
It could be about bowling. It could be about football. It could be about basketball. It could be whatever you want in the sports world. If it is well written, you will get credit for it, and we will post it on thefanadvocate.com. We need your help to kind of stimulate this a little bit. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but we're going to make a contest out of it. And whoever gets the most read blog on the site will win a prize. And we're going to say, what do you guys think? 2 3 months?
A gold sticker?
Over the course of 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months?
I would say if it was a girl, it'd be a date with you, but nobody would want that.
Oh! Ouch! Sick burn!
Wow, where did that come from? Where did that? Good Lord! Wow!
Damn! Gee, I didn't do anything to you all week. I was nice to you. What the heck?
I had to get in there, fella.
Of course, he's moving to Des Moines.
This is what you can expect, public access people.
Well, so with that, if you want to like us on
Over the course of, let's say, a month, whoever gets, we're going to open this up for the next month. We'll make a push of it and remind you guys of it. Whoever gets the most views will win some sort of prize.
I'm used to it.
Put this on your priority list. Help us out, because if we go places, you guys go places.
Yeah, if you like to read,
no other show addresses its viewers.
I was gonna say, if you like to,
I love the viewers. When I go on vacation, they're not coming.
They're not coming on.
I'm just saying.
They're not coming to my private island. Wait a minute,
for sure.
Some of the viewers you've added on Facebook, and you bring your phone with you, right? There you go.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
So,
dang you.
You know, if you guys want to do this, check this out, help us out a little bit, because no other show addresses its viewers quite like we do.
If you think you know sports, prove it to us.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
You have a wild card?
I don't. Not today.
So I know you have any of the week.
I do.
Do you have a wild card?
I don't have a wild card. I do have a wild card.
Okay.
Just a quick one. I would just like to say, because of what the show will be airing today. So what today is, I would just like to wish my beautiful wife Stephanie a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I would just like to say I love you very much. And I don't know how you've put up with me for the time that we've been together. I agree. But I think every day that I'm with you, and I can't think of nobody else I'd love spending my life with than you. So happy Valentine's Day, dear. I love you very much.
That's your wild card.
That is my wild card.
That's a good one. What the heck are you doing? What do you know my water? What are you doing?
I'm kidding. It was very sweet and very moving.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take a swig of that.
So now the idiot of the week.
Refreshing.
Is it going to be the three initial committee?
No.
I don't think it should be.
We already addressed that. They are idiots. But this woman deserves to be idiot of the week.
Okay.
So this past Sunday at the house show that we went to at the KFC Yum Center.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something else.
What'd you think it was?
The hockey thing.
No.
Okay.
That could be too. Okay. You're killing me. You're right. Okay. We all know Kendra, Big B, Doc. When you go to an event in an arena, what is one of the things that are plastered on every door?
No smoking?
No admittance. No re-admittance.
Exactly.
Okay, no smoking.
So a woman goes on a rant to WDRB, a local Fox station here in Louisville, that the Yum Center ruined her WWE experience.
How so?
So it was her first ever event. Her boyfriend got her tickets for Christmas. She was all excited to go. At intermission, she decides to walk outside to make a phone call because she said the reception in the arena wasn't good. So upon walking outside, of course, what happens? She can't come back in unless she buys a ticket.
Well, she already had her ticket on her.
You can't, no re-entry with tickets.
It's already scanned.
It's plastered all over every door.
It's already scanned.
But according to this woman, it was the Yum Center's fault. And she also said it didn't. The 5 or 6 workers that were there that I passed along going outside making this call didn't bother to tell me that I couldn't come back in. You should know. It's on every door.
Right.
Any arena, any stadium, any event that you go to, I was like, really? You can't put that on. You can't put that on the Yum Center. So with that, the woman who thought the Yum Center cost her bad time at the Yum Center only because of her own stupidity. You are this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 87. Idiot of the Week.
I'll tell you this much: there's no sports show called The Idiots every week. So if you're not going to be an idiot, please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk. You can send us any comment or question you have, and send us any blogs about sports you want featured on the Fan Advocate or triplethreattalk.com at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. Triple Threat Talk. This is Big B.
This is the Doctor.
This is Postmaster Jones.
Just Kendra. Have a nice night.
This is Big B signing off. It's going to take me quite a while to get over that burn from earlier. See you next week.
You'll be alright.